Das ist die Lifehacks Show.
Welcome zur Lifehacks Show. Lifehacks gibt dir selbst erprobte Hacks und Tipps für dein bestes Ich. Und hier ist ein Crash-Test-Dummy für ein besseres Leben. Markus Meurer.
Jo Leute, was geht? Diese Folge wird präsentiert von der Deutschen Telekom. Die Telekom ist der größte Player für Internet, TV, Telefon und Mobilfunk. Und ich bin als Digital Nomad nicht mehr wirklich oft in Deutschland, wenn dann im Sommer, vielleicht so 6 bis 8 Wochen oder jetzt im Mai zur Vorbereitung von der DNX. Aber wenn ich in Deutschland bin, dann bin ich immer mit der Kongstar SIM-Karte von der Telekom am Start. Und jetzt kannst du auch mit dem Weiterempfehlen von Telekom-Produkten, die du selber nutzt, Geld verdienen. Das Coole ist, du musst dafür kein Gewerbe angemeldet haben. Das geht auch super easy als Privatperson. Und auch wenn du selber einen Vertrag abschließt, bekommst du die Provision als Cashback auf dein Konto gutgeschrieben. Geh jetzt auf www.telekom-profis.de/dnx und check alle Infos zur Aktion aus. Über meinen DNX-Link bekommst du dann zusätzlich nochmal 50 € für die erste Vermittlung. Die DKB-Karte ist die beste Kreditkarte auf Reisen. Ich nutze sie selber, weil die Karte ist komplett for free und du kannst weltweit kostenlos Geld abheben. Gehe jetzt auf www.dnx-berlin.de/dkb und sicher dir die kostenlose DKB-Kreditkarte. Yeah, folks, this is the Lifehacks Show, live from Berlin, where it's getting warmer and warmer. We are in the spring, and finally, also in Germany, the summer is arriving. That's really cool. But what's even more cool is I'm not alone today. I have an interview guest, and this is my good friend Stuart. Hey, Stuart, how are you doing?
Good, Marcus. Very, very well. Down in Barcelona at the moment and enjoying the Barcelona spring.
Cool. So you're the founder of covocation.com. Before we get to this, what are you doing in Barcelona at the moment? Or maybe it's linked to your business, probably.
Well, it's a bit of both. My girlfriend's here, and actually that's why I sort of returned. I've actually left Barcelona 4 or 5 times now, thinking that I was sort of like leaving behind sort of like the city like on a permanent basis, but for one reason or another, I keep on getting drawn back to the city. And so, but it makes it a really interesting base to set up co-location. We're still in the initial phases of the project and what we're doing. So, like if you can set up a business from anywhere, then Barcelona is a pretty good one to be doing it from.
Yeah, what is so special about Barcelona? Well, what brings you always back and back again?
Look, a couple of times it's been for personal reasons and like romances and these kind of things. A couple of times for businesses. Like I've set up a number of businesses in the city, but the city itself, it just lends itself to to really creative energy behind the place. It's a very international city. A lot of people from all around the world come and sort of with intention of staying for a few weeks, but the next thing you know, they're here for a few years. Perfect sort of environment, really entrepreneurial scene, and very creative and arty and cultural as well. Perfect climate, nice beach. And good restaurant and gastronomy scene as well. So it's got a lot going for it.
Cool. And you just mentioned you had some business going on before in Barcelona. So when did you get for the first time to Barcelona, and how did you start your first business, and to what did it grow?
Yeah, look, I sort of stumbled across, it was by coincidence that I ended up setting up in Spain. I was just traveling, I was backpacking around, and I ran out of money. And I was actually in San Sebastian on the other side of Spain at the time. And then I was going to go work from London, find a bar job, as many Australians sort of did sort of during those days. But then sort of set up a little business across there for the summer, and it worked well. And it gave me enough money I worked one summer and sort of saved up enough money to go traveling for the rest of the year.
What kind of business was it?
Oh, look, it was a very informal little like what they call pension, like it's a little apartment that whereby in those days Hostel World, Airbnb didn't exist, and so people would get off train stations and just go buzzing on like doors, like looking for accommodation. So I'd rented out an apartment, filled it up with a whole bunch of mattresses, slept in the kitchen myself, and filled it up with other backpackers, and then it sort of worked and made quite a bit of cash from it. Well, like in like enough to keep me traveling. And then bit by bit, sort of like I came back the following summer and started doing some surfing safaris along the Basque Coast, the French and Spanish coasts, and then started doing some festivals and some other parties, came across to Barcelona, and became a little bit more serious over the coming years. And one thing remained the same, though. I had it really clear that I didn't want to be based. Oh no, sorry, I didn't want to be. I wanted the flexibility still to be able to travel, and so I set up the business and structured them in a way so that it enabled me to be able to have that freedom to go off and travel. Because I knew
already in these times, like when was it, 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah, it would have been 15 years ago, approximately. And look, I mean, the term location independent definitely didn't exist in those days, nor digital nomad. Like the reality is that like there was very few other people sort of that I would like encounter when I was on the road, traveling, and I'd sort of have my computer out or go work from like internet cafes and these kind of things. But I very rarely came across anyone else doing the same. And so I think, like over the years, like bit by bit, like I started to see a few more people popping up around the world, like they're starting to do it. But in those early years, like I felt like, I was the odd one out. Like you're in these holiday destinations and there's other backpackers around or travelers around, and then you'd hang out with them for a little while, but then you'd say, okay, I'm going to go off and do some work, and they'd look at you like with these really strange eyes, go, what do you mean you're going to go off and work?
Yeah. Can imagine.
And so, like I guess that's was the driving force behind starting up co-workation was, back in, like that, I felt a lot of loneliness at times, sort of like over those years, like, I can't complain with the lifestyle because it was what I chose and it was amazing. Like, I got to see a lot of part of the world, but was definitely missing, that ability to go and meet a community of like-minded people there. And so, when, like the creation of co-worcation really like has that as its driving force and behind it. It's sort of that ability to be able to connect people and build communities.
When did this start? When did this idea first pop up about setting something up like a co-worcation?
It was approximately 4 years ago that the idea popped into my head. It was as a result of I stumbled across like co-working spaces, which I was quite actually like finding out about these things. And I was back home in Melbourne in Australia, and I read an article about co-working spaces. I'm like, wow, that's a fantastic idea. This is what I needed when I was when I was setting up businesses in Spain. It would have really helped me, and so I went and checked out the co-working space and worked
in
from there.
Urban areas? Sorry to interrupt. In urban areas, or was it already about the first tropical co-working spaces?
No. It was Impact Hub in Melbourne. And so I went in there and worked for a couple of weeks, and then I really liked the energy behind it and like the idea of the co-working space, but then it sort of popped into my head that, like I thought, well, hang on, this kind of thing should be taken to the road and like combining the travel concept. And so I sort of like pondered over it. I think I had a glass of wine or two as I started thinking about it. And then, all of a sudden the term co-worcation popped into my head. And I actually at the time assumed that word would already exist. So I did a Google search and started looking around online, and I didn't find anything, and I'm like, well, hang on, co-workation. I actually think this will become a noun or a verb or an adjective. So I'm not very good with,
Definitely.
well, whatever whatever it would be, like at some
Uh,
stage in the future. So I registered the .com,
and
trademarked
so
the word,
this
and
was one of my questions. The .com domain was free, available at this moment, at this time,
yeah,
4 years
yeah,
ago.
it was. Yes. So and like. There was literally no reference. Like I did Google searches on there. I didn't actually see like the term co-workation pop up at all.
Mm.
And I just thought, well, hang on. If I'm thinking this, like I have a feeling that that people will start like just similar to 15 years ago, or however long, 10 years ago, co-working. The
Mm.
word didn't exist, but then eventually the big, it's commonplace these days. And I had a feeling that co-workation would be the same, so that's why I registered it, and I actually trademarked the word, but was a victim of fraud on the trademark, so I had to redo it a couple of years later, and yeah, sort of sat on it because I had other businesses that I was running at the time, so I knew I wasn't able to get round to setting up the business co-workation, and I didn't exactly know what the business would entail still. But I knew that it was very much something that I would become passionate about, and I was itching to get at it. Sort of, in that sort of like 2.5 year hiatus while I was still working on the other businesses, I was trying to speed up the process as quickly as possible so that I could get to work on co-workation and like really sort of start spreading the word about location independence.
Great. Really inspiring origin story. And nowadays, people can't imagine that even like 4 or 5 years ago, the keyword domains still were available, like co-workation, or I registered digitalenomaden.net, a German keyword domain, just 4 years ago. And now it's so usual and nearly went into the mainstream for the people that they can't even imagine that 4 years ago there was no tropical co-working space at all, and then just
Yeah.
Ubud popped up, and Dojo and CoHub and all these other great co-working spaces in tropical areas. I just have been to Koh Lanta in Thailand, where it's a small tiny island, but they already have 3 co-working spaces with
Is there
really
three now?
great,
Wow.
yeah, really great and fast internet. So it's hard to
Yeah.
imagine the times you were just talking about where people felt sorry for you, they didn't get it when you said I have to go back to work, and just we had to hang out with backpackers, also Feli and me, and hostels,
Mhm.
and they were
Yeah.
partying a lot. We tried to work. It was
Yeah.
crazy times.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And I think, that's what is really exciting if we project sort of forward over the coming years. I mean, there's already this movement that's surrounding the location independence and digital nomad movement and lifestyle. And there's all the ecosystem that is starting to be built up around this, everything from the exotics co-working spaces, or in places that used to be or that are traditionally sort of holiday destinations, but now like you can go there and there's a work and an entrepreneurial and a business community there. There's community sort of building apps and websites. There's people that are out there like spreading the word, and like all these podcasts are raising a lot of awareness to what's actually possible. And so if this is sort of happening and progressing so quickly over the past few years, like it's just so exciting to think of where this will go in 5, 10, 15 years time.
mm. Yeah, it's hard to imagine, because just the last 2 or 3 years was such a roller coaster ride, and with so many ups and downs and so many different things happened. So tell me a little bit about your journey from the beginning of co-workation, when you started out with the first maybe co-working camps, or what are you doing
Mhm.
exactly with coworkation.com, and where are you now, and what is your vision for the next, I would say, two
Yeah.
or 3 years, because it's hard to estimate any further.
Yeah, well, I guess what I see co-location as something which, what we're really trying to do is build a brand around location independence. And something whereby, yes, we run like the co-workation trips, which are, short trips, co-working trips to beautiful and inspiring locations for 2 days or a week or 2 weeks kind of thing. But really, like what the driving force behind this is probably looking at things on a broader scale and really trying to get involved and immerse ourselves as much as possible in the location independence movement, and really trying to bring as much awareness through, what we can do the movement, and then really we're trying to collaborate as much as possible and help support others within the movement there, because I think really it's difficult enough for any startup to get off the ground, and I've started a few over the years, and it's got its own challenges. But then you add on top of that the fact that this is a whole new way of living and working. It's something which is not really understood a whole lot at the moment, and there's not a lot of awareness. So it adds an extra challenge to the shared challenges of creating a startup, but also you've got to build awareness about what this is all about. So people are still, the majority of people still haven't heard of what a co-workation is, and the majority still haven't heard of what location independence or digital nomads are. And so, we're sort of trying to build a business and trying to build products, but really trying to spread awareness about the movement on a broader level. From the product side of things, so we're doing the co-workation trips. We're also setting up a co-living space in Barcelona, which is actually opening in 2 weeks' time, and that
Great.
is
Congrats.
Thank you. It's extremely exciting for us, but I think just sort of hopefully we're going to be able to create something which is really awesome for people that are coming to Barcelona. So the digital nomads, location independent professionals that come to Barcelona that are looking for that place to find their community. And I think co-living, it's a new type of accommodation for a new type of traveller. And we're actually the first co-living that's being set up in Barcelona. And the idea behind
many co-living projects so far are more like a little bit in more rural areas, a little bit remote areas, and I think this is also an important asset what was missing and will become more, I think, getting or building up these co-living spaces in bigger cities, in hubs, in hotspots like Barcelona, and we are also coming to Barcelona with the Spanish-speaking DNX conference next year, so that will hopefully also bring a lot more awareness also into the city, into the country, and into the Spanish-speaking market for all the digital nomad movement, location independent movement, how you call it.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I think that the co-living, so the idea behind what we're trying to do with it is that up until now, there's been no accommodation model that really meets the needs of a digital nomad or a location independent professional. Basically, because there's been no model that has been designed for this new group type of traveller. And so, basically when we've been looking at it, trying to design it in such a way where I think, well, what would I have liked it when I went and travelled to a place for a month or two? If I was to go to Berlin, or if I was to come to Barcelona myself and want to work there for a month or two, or potentially stay longer. I don't want to stay in an Airbnb whereby I either rent out an apartment and by myself, or I'm sharing an apartment with a couple of locals that have already got their friends and networks and these kind of things there. And so what we've trying to create is something whereby people can literally get off the plane or the train, come to what we're calling a landing pad. They've got their own private bathroom because comfort is important for for people. If you're going to be working and it's not like you're going out and drinking and passing out every night like we do when we're a bit younger, or if we're just sort of like backpacking or traveling. People need that level of comfort so they can go into a comfortable room. And then we've got a huge 500 square metre terrace whereby you go up there and you can be co-working with a group of, there's 15 rooms, so like there'll be 15 to 20 people staying in the accommodation. And so you've already got your group that you can work with and explore the city with, that you can attend events with, that you can start to collaborate with. You've already got them there. You don't have to look at alternatives and go to meetups or networking events and just be, hunting down like your sort of like tribe. You've already you can walk into one basically. And so I think, then on this terrace, like what we've tried to do is say, okay, well, what do the majority of digital nomads and location independent professionals look for? So a lot of us have a very holistic view upon life. And so, yes, our work is important to us, but so is our health, so is our social life, so is enjoyment of life and that innate curiosity that we have to explore. So on the terrace, we've got like a meditation and a yoga area. We've got
nice.
a gym area, like a sort of like a small like outdoor gym area, a ping pong table, some sofas for socializing, then a co-working area, a barbecue, a projector for like outdoor cinema of a night time, and then. So what we hope to be able to then do is like some events whereby, obviously, for the community that's staying there, but then also for them to connect with other people that within the city that have also like-minded, share the same values of what co-workation is trying to promulgate here in the city about lifestyle design, location independence, etc., etc. So we've already got a community. So like inviting them round to do a barbecue to meet up with these newly arrived location independent professionals, and then hopefully they'll connect, and then they'll be able to introduce people further into the city. So that they can get even more immersed and get more out of the culture and the entrepreneurial scene in the city.
Really, really impressive. Is there a minimum stay for living there in this place?
Yeah, there is, Marcus. It's a 1 month minimum stay. And the reason, well, there's a couple of reasons behind that. So firstly, what we don't want and we want to avoid is having someone that's just here in Barcelona on a tourism level. That's just here for 3 days or a week or 10 days or whatever, that's just out there to sightsee. That's great. Like people, I'm not trying to discourage people from doing that, but there's lots of accommodation options out there for that type of person. So we want to, as much as we possibly can, create an environment where people are in the same, on the same level. So those that are coming for a month, a minimum of a month, and then look, I think that's really it can be for someone that maybe say, okay, I might come to Barcelona, or I might have it in my head to maybe stay for 6 months. However, I want to find my community sort of straight away, and so it serves as a landing pad for them. So it's for the digital nomad, the location independent professional, but also someone that actually might say, okay, I might be coming to Barcelona for 6 months or 12 months, but I want to connect with people.
Great. Sounds really good. Are you still connected to your origin from Australia, right?
Yes, I'm originally from Melbourne. And look, I go back there every year or two, but my friends and family these days really they're not that interested when I come back. They're like, oh, you're back again, Stu. When are you leaving?
That's very nice.
Yeah.
So they know you better, huh? They know that you're always on the road, I assume.
Yeah, I think they've got very much adjusted to me not being around. So when I used to go back, and everyone used to get excited and throw parties and these kind of things. Nowadays, I get a much more lukewarm or neutral reaction from them all.
All right. Well, what I was after is, do you know how the location independent movement or digital nomad scene is doing in Australia? Because I heard they have a rough or tough time because like the data plans are very expensive and the distances are very, very long, and it's still like a backpacking hub for many people with lots of drinks and partying. And as you said, many nomads are more into the holistic lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I think it's a bit of a paradox. I think Australians have values which I think are quite like shared by a lot of location independent professionals. They also historically big travellers. Yet it's not taking root within the country a whole lot from what I've seen. There's no, like as far as I know, there's no co-living spaces that are really targeting this new breed of traveller. There's no the co-working spaces in exotic sort of like or more holiday destinations are not popping up. And so I think, look, and for a digital nomad, it's an expensive country, so that's definitely a drawback. But like there is digital nomads that are out there that are traveling and they have enough cash to be able to afford it, or maybe they go for a shorter period of time. But I think it's not that community there that you would find in Southeast Asia, for example, or even in Europe these days. And then what I've found interesting as well is, so co-location as a brand, we've tested markets out there with some Facebook campaigns, and we've done very similar Facebook campaigns testing a few different markets. And now the response from Barcelona, for example, has been a lot more welcoming, and people are embraced our message. Yeah, they seem to be, and they're really like, I feel as though like people are embracing our message really open-heartedly here in this city. Whereas in Australia, we're running the same campaigns, and now we've actually pulled them off to a large extent, because there's definitely like we're not getting very little response from out there. So I don't know like whether or not obviously messages need to be changed according to markets, but I would have expected a warmer response from Australia, but no, the Aussies, we must be cold-hearted, or I don't know what it is, but they're not. They don't seem to be embracing the location independent movement as yet.
Interesting, really interesting, huh? Tell me more about the location independent movement, LIM. I think you're also trying to like establish a brand around it and set up a manifesto or something. Do you have a hub, a landing page, or some principles you want to share here about what your vision is? You already talked a little bit about this.
Yeah, look, I guess what we're talking a lot about location independence, and really like, because I guess what I see this as something which has got a lot of impact upon society on a broad level. So when I look at a digital nomad lifestyle, I think, wow, that's fantastic. And I've lived it at times throughout, the past 15 years. And I definitely want that to be encouraged and the word to be spread about that, the possibility of living that digital nomad lifestyle. However, I feel as though location independence has more broader and deeper implications upon society. In that, location independence really can change the way we structure society, but also on a smaller scale, on the family basis, for example. I think most digital nomads, and this has happened to me, and I've seen it happen to many others. Say, okay, look, I love the travel lifestyle, I love doing it, but at some point, people a lot of the time and reach that stage where they say, you know what, I'm not so excited about traveling, constant movement, at the moment. What I want to do is set up a base, and I want to have a base, and I want to have a home and kids and a family, or whatever. But I don't want to lose that freedom. And because really, freedom is the underlying value, I think, that that's shared between a digital nomad and location independent professionals, but also people that really aspire to location independence. So freedom's the primary driving force there.
Right.
What I see the implications there of the ability, if you're location independent, what that can mean for your lifestyle, throughout your later stages of life, or throughout all your life there. So to give an example, I'm location independent. My girlfriend is not. Now, I moved from Barcelona, and then we sort of fell in love, blah blah, and I flew back to Barcelona because I can. Now, if I wasn't location independent, our relationship either would have had to end, or one would have had to have made a big sacrifice when it's in itself, sometimes can cause a lot of problems in itself. So if one person is location independent, that creates a lot of advantages. Now, if both of you are location independent, wow, that just opens up even more doors. I mean, especially with a lot of where so much traveling going on, we're living in a globalized world. And so there's a lot of relationships that are being formed between people from different countries. And now and you might be happy living in Barcelona. I'm from Barcelona. I'm from Melbourne. So I'm living in Barcelona, and my girlfriend from Mexico. Now, if she one day wants to go back to Mexico, I would say, yeah, great. I'm happy to do that. I'm location independent. I like Mexico. I'm happy to do that. But then also, as you're getting older and families get sick or whatever, location independence enables you to be able to go off and be with your family during times of need. Same with raising children. If both partners are location independent, they have the freedom to be able to structure their lives in a way that is quite different from the traditional model of, okay, one partner stays at home, looks after the kid, the other one goes off to work. This says, what, I want a bit of a mix of both. The partner that was supposed to be working or whatever there can say, I would like to spend more time with my children. And the other one says, I would also like to go out and join the workforce, or get more adult sort of lifestyle out there or pursue my own entrepreneurial interests or whatever it might be. And so you can really structure your life in a different way. And so, there's the family aspect, but then also from a company and a corporate level, location independence is affecting that as well. People are starting to say, you know what, if you don't give me freedom, I'm not going to work for you. I'm going to go work for a company that respects my desire to be able to live life on my own terms, and for me to have that freedom to be able to say where and when I'm going to work from. There's usually limitations with that. However, companies are opening up to that. Yeah, so I think, it's location independence for me. That's where the real sort of the really serious issues sort of related to location independence and the ability to really make people's lives a whole lot better and happier. Yes, it gives us the ability to be able to go off and travel and to live a digital nomad lifestyle, but we may or may not elect to do so. But it's our decision to make, as opposed to when you're not location independent, it's not your decision to make. So my girlfriend is not location independent. When we're planning our holidays together for the rest of the year, it's quite complicated. She's literally got to count out on a calendar how many days she can take and where we're going to actually take those days. So I bought some Guns N' Roses tickets a couple of months ago for a cross in Bilbao on the other side of Spain. And I wasn't really thinking at the time, the concert's on a Tuesday night. And all of a sudden, like, it looks like we're not going to be able to go because she's not going to be able to get the days like the Monday and the Tuesday off. And so if anyone wants some Guns N' Roses tickets, then I've got a couple.
All right, they should contact you over the website, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I get the point. I'm totally with you, and this is definitely the thing to do. Like traveling constantly, roaming places makes you like really exhausts you and makes you not so productive as you can be while being at one place. So this is the reason why also Feli and me are just going in 3 or 4 or 5, maximum 5 places a year, which is already a lot, I know, but in the beginning was way quicker. But I think the midterm vision of all of the digital nomads after 1 or 2 years is to have different bases. Like we have one in Brazil, we have another base in Thailand, we have another base in Bali, we have a base in Berlin. So just roaming between the bases. And then as you got a lot of freedom on all different aspects of life, you're finally able to care about the whole wheel of life or your holistic your holistic life. So what about your relationship, your spirituality, your health, your nutrition, and all this stuff is not without a reason very important for all the digital nomads. And so I agree with you. It's everybody has to see how they use their free time. In the beginning, for many people, it's a traveling, but then I think it shifts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like the beauty of location independence is it gives just you the freedom to be able to structure life in the way that you want to structure it. And I think, like that does like we change over time, our needs, our desires, our passions change, but we've got that freedom to be able to adapt our life and our lifestyles to those changes. I mean, there is definitely challenges for like when you do have that freedom, and it's something which we're like I'm on a personal individual basis. I'm always exploring this and trying to figure out, how do I structure my days and my lives, and what do I really want to do. And it's not as easy as what it might sound, and what a lot of people that maybe aren't location independent, like they don't realize it's, oh, gee, you've got all this freedom. It's it's all good. There's no downside to it.
It's totally challenging, especially the whole topic personal development, personal growth, because as you're traveling, your mindset really expands. Also, oh wait, there's a caller, and you can only. Are you still here?
Yeah, I am. Yep. Can you hear me?
Some music. Yeah, I have some music on my headphones. I have to stop it at the computer for my girlfriend, I think. Wait, I'm back in 1 minute.
No worries at all, mate. You're right. Can you hear me?
Yeah. No, I can hear you again. Sorry, Stuart.
Okay, you're right. No worries, mate.
It was crazy. The Beatles just started in my headphones.
There we go.
Was figuring out
Beatles more interesting than listening to me talk anyway.
I was running in the living room. Philly, is it your iPhone? Is it your Mac? Is it my iPhone?
Where's that coming from? Or is it in my head?
Yeah, this is the Bluetooth thing. Yeah, what I just wanted to mention, it's very, very interesting because as a location independent entrepreneur, you've got way more also challenges on the road to figure out how to deal with this huge amount of freedom, and then how to grow as a person, because your business can only grow as much as you grow as a person. And as you're being constantly on the road, you have to deal with lots of things, but this also gives you like a very steep growth curve or rate. What I experienced, especially in the last 2 years.
Absolutely. And I think, I think we can learn from each other a lot. So people that are leading these lifestyles, really like looking at general open discussions on how we can get the most out of this freedom and lifestyle. Because like one of the challenges I personally face is when you've got all this freedom, you've got a lot more decisions to make. you can sort of do a whole lot more. Like I can do this, or I can do that, or I can do this, or I can work from there, or I can head away to this, or whatever. And decision making. I mean, there's psychological research out there about our capacity to be able to make good decisions depletes as the day goes on and as we make more and more decisions. So I wake up in the morning and this is why routine can really be helpful. But then also there's the decision, how much routine do you want in your life? Because everyone's different on that. Some people need a lot. I don't have a huge amount. But then I think I actually asked myself, maybe I should actually put more routine in there because then I'd have less decisions to make.
Yeah, it helps me. For instance, it helps me a lot when I started to figure out how to structure my life or my daily life and set up a very strict morning routine now every day. It gave me a lot of headspace for all the important stuff, especially business wise.
Yeah, awesome. And I think when having these discussions and these people out there and like yourself on your podcasts and but then even informally, just amongst like friends that are leading these lifestyles, say, so what's your morning routine? And all of a sudden you go, oh, hang on, maybe I should like incorporate part of that into my routine. I think and I think there's challenges, but I think because this is quite a new lifestyle as well, I think we're sort of all dealing with these kind of issues, but we can all support each other.
Yeah, totally. And this is the good thing. Like, as you mentioned, like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, when you started the lifestyle, or 5 years ago, when we started the lifestyle, my girlfriend and me, there was no really community or masterminds or connections. So everybody was figuring their own way out in some gray zones or workarounds. And now the information is floating and it's way more convenient, especially to start, but also for us who are already for a longer time into this lifestyle. It's way more easy to optimize it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, and so look, I mean, this is why we want more and more people to enter the movement.
Yeah, totally. Because the more people enter the movement, the more information, the more like crowd intelligence is in this movement. And I also have a lot of hope into these very motivated people, especially the millennials, and then the aspiring entrepreneurs out of our location independent movement, because people who are traveling, they have the big picture, they see the real issues, and they can't be threatened that much as you can threaten people just letting them live in their own bubbles in a national system with all the news and papers, and then you start to believe it because you adapt to it. So I think we have a big responsible also.
Absolutely. But I think what's really sort of exciting as more and more people are entering into this movement, and there is like people that have like entrepreneurial mindsets or just have an idea, and then how they can then like add to and contribute to this ecosystem. There'll be more and more startups that really will then like help propel forward. Raise more awareness, but then also being able to create more and more experiences for location-independent professionals and digital nomads, and also to make life better and easier for people within this lifestyle. And so, I dream of the world getting to this point whereby, if I look at like the way I used to travel 15 years ago. With my computer or sitting in internet shops and sort of being there alone, but like also like loving like traveling and going around to all these destinations. I would love to think there'll be a world whereby there'll be a network of destinations and you can effectively just swing around from one place to another. And go in there, and just as like you go into Ubud in Bali or Chiang Mai or Koh Lanta or the Canary Islands, and there's like that, that community that's sort of there waiting for you that you can walk into. There'll be more and more places all around the world, in Africa, in South America, in Australia, in Europe, wherever you're traveling to, you're going to be able to find your community. That's just going to grow. And then what can actually happen and result of that and this is where the impact can really be beneficial for developing countries. So, if it's Africa or Asia or South America or whatever, so someone has helps build a community in, let's just say, in a small town in Brazil, for example. And it's a beautiful setting that people say, I'd love to go there. And so I say, okay, I'm going to set up a community and facilities for digital nomads and location independent professionals. I'm going to attract them here. Now, if they're conscious about the impact that they can have upon the local community, but then also spread it throughout the country, the linkages that you can have. So you're getting all these people from all around the world that can then connect and can share their ideas, can potentially collaborate with the locals as well. And some of the ideas that can be formed of from that is really there's a lot of potential and power within that.
Totally. This is where the magic happens. When you start to connect with the locals, we try to bring them on our camps, or we go into local co-working spaces and share our knowledge and try to inspire the young kids just to start a podcast, a YouTube channel, something to get their word out and to show them that everything is connected, even in the smallest part of the world. The only thing you need is an internet connection. And these are great times.
Yeah, absolutely.
So really looking forward for the future. So where do you see the development of the location independent movement, of the digital nomad lifestyle? Will it be, what will it be like? What role will it play in the future of work for the next 3 or 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, look, it's anybody's guess. I really think similar to the collaborative economy. So the sharing economy, when it started up a number of years ago, and there was all these different startups that really weren't actually connected by a term, the collaborative economy. But there was a set of values that were being used to that were the driving forces behind people setting up these different businesses around the world. Mm-hmm. I think the same thing is happening with the location independent movement, and so it's that's only going to grow and grow and grow quite quickly, I think, because it's been driven as a result of people saying, values are changing, mm-hmm. Lifestyles are changing, and so therefore that's where the exponential growth can really occur, because these values are shared throughout the world,
especially the millennials, right?
Correct, exactly. And I think millennials, as they come through, yes, there will be a lot of entrepreneurs and startups and these kind of things. But to me, one of the really exciting aspects of that is the millennials that come in and get into the management positions and director positions, so they can actually start influencing and shaping the way the corporate world looks. Because at the moment, the dinosaurs are still sort of in those director positions in these, some of these bigger companies. Yeah. And so as the millennials come through and they're seeing, maybe they've actually led this different lifestyle, or they've got friends that have a lot of freedom, or they just they share the value and say, I'm not going to go and work for you unless you give me freedom. So I'm not going to then force and try and control the lives of all my employees also. And so that's really that's one of the big shifts that can happen is within companies. And the reality is larger companies have more power than the startup and the entrepreneurial sort of scenes. The larger companies have a huge amount of power there. So if they can open up their cultures to say really, they talk a lot about employee satisfaction. However, at the same time, they're still really trying to. They have that control attitude rather than sort of. Actually, we can give our employees more freedom. So let's do it. as a lot of the bigger companies, or like a lot of companies in general, are still not embracing the possibilities within that. And so I think that's only going to progress as time goes on.
Great. Thanks for sharing your vision and your thoughts about the location independent movement. Thanks for all the work and the efforts you're putting into this movement and into your projects, and like seeing the movement on a broader level and integrating and connecting everybody, every player who's like in this field active. I really appreciate it. And thanks for your time.
No, thanks for having me on, Marcus. And it's a pleasure. And hopefully we can continue all spreading the word of location independent movement.
Yeah, we will. See you in Lisbon, or latest then in Barcelona next year.
Perfect.
All right. See you.
See you, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, yes, yo, thanks für deinen Support, und wenn du noch mehr mit mir connecten möchtest, here we go. Erstens, komm in die kostenlose DNX-Community auf Facebook unter www.dnxcommunity.de. Ich bin jeden Tag am Start und helfe, wo ich kann. Zweitens, triff dich mit mir auf dem geilsten Event ever, der DNX Digitale Nomadenkonferenz im Mai in Berlin. Gehe dafür jetzt auf www.dnx-berlin.de und mit dem Code PODCAST schenke ich dir 20 € auf jedes Ticket. Drittens, folge mir um die Welt und trag dich auf www.dnx-berlin.de/news in den kostenlosen Newsletter ein. Viertens, folge mir auf Facebook, Instagram und Twitter unter Markus Meurer. Fünftens, gehe jetzt auf www.lhsupporter.de und werde Lifehack-Supporter ab $3. Sechstens, gehe auf www.podcastbewertung.de und hinterlasse mir eine kurze Bewertung. Am iPhone unten rechts auf die Lupe tippen, nach Markus Meurer suchen, Podcast antippen und auf Bewertung schreiben gehen. Yo, that's it. Peace and out.